Game 2, can Elevate answer back? Let's see, picks and bans as we get into it. Elevate this time will be on the right side, which means they do not have first pick. That goes to Obey.
Second pick is such a crucial point to be able to find some sort of counter matchup or maybe just a comfort pick for somebody in the later stages. Obey Alliance, they last picked Toth that last game, so Elevate, we'll see what their option is if they want to find maybe a counter matchup in that solo lane.
I'm looking at where Obey is going to ban here because I have a really big point if they ban the way I want them to, and I'm excited.
So what Obey did was before in game 1, they banned the Ares Fafnir. They gave up Kurnos on purpose because Ataraxia just doesn't care. He has a pretty wide god pool as well, and he likes to actually deal with some of these meta picks to show everybody that it's doable.
Well, also, Obey is one of the top teams in the world right now. And if we look at the past, we look at teams, godlike teams like Cloud9 once upon a time, Eager once upon a time, and some of these other teams that have been very, very successful. Energy, they don't really care about what is quote-unquote too strong. They find their own way to play, and they focus more on outsmarting the opposition, outplaying the opposition, than just playing the numbers and then flipping the cards over. And so what Obey did in game number 1, they ban out Ares and Fafnir. Elevates 2 go-to selections for support, meaning you can't play your over-aggressive dual lane game that you love to play. So they do the same thing here. You ban out the Ares and you ban out nulisa's Giannis. You can't play your over-aggressive game. So what happens is Elevate can't play their game. They have to play Obey's game.
That's true and fair because Elevate, despite they can play very aggressive with other gods such as Kabrakan in the support if they really wanted to, or maybe a warrior in form of Hercules, but either way, Obey are taking away the most aggressive gods that they've been demonstrating thus far in the SPL. So definitely doing their homework in the background.
Nemesis, again, the first pick for Elevate, likely on the jungler. Cherryo one more time. I liked his play there on the Nemesis, and by all means, absolutely repeat it. I think it was good enough to keep Elevate afloat and can find the win. Pick number 2 for Elevate, however.
Waiting
it's going to be the Sun Wukong. I like it again.
It's interesting to see a Sun Wukong so early now in the SPL. A god that hasn't been seeing a lot of love recently. Having a little bit of a buff here between both his Master's Will and the Cudgel. Total 25% extra scaling. So once you go for these physical power items, such as the Shifter Shield now that also received a buff, you're getting more damage on those cooldowns.
The Bellona, still a powerful selection even after the change to Death Toll. Still has some of her cleave available, not all of it, however. Paired with the Terra. The Terra likely again on EmilZy. Bellona will likely be the choice over there for the solo lane. And Naja one more time. Again, I think both of the drafts last time around were good enough. I think that if Elevate picked the exact same draft they did in game number 1, they could still win. So I don't mind repeating these selections. Same goes for Obey. I have no issue with this.
CaptainTwig played a fantastic Naja the first time around, with the exception of that early game shenanigans where he tried to find those ring bounces and then flanked and then didn't really get punished for it. But despite all that, he was at the right place at the right time where he needed to be. He found the kill onto no numbers in that solo lane, making the plays happen in the jungle side. Picking the Naja yet again gives PrettyPriMe a lot of flexibility. Elevate with only 2 more bans remaining. They can't ban out every mid-mage that PrettyPriMe wants to play here.
Naja, last section on the Naja. Naja is also a very, I would say difficult god to play in the way of Circat or Wheelish, but Naja is very difficult to play in the sense that you gotta hit his stuff, and that sounds really basic and dumb, but Naja's abilities are harder to hit, in my personal opinion, than some of the other characters in the jungle.
Sure.
Hunbat's overhand smash is the size of a football field, right? Naja, the ring, the sash, the ult, these are difficult to hit things. You're gonna watch him be kind of cold in the beginning of game number 1, and then as game number 1 went on, if Naja is still that hot, you pick him in game 2. If he kind of flounders, you move on and you go somewhere else. CaptainTwig has the hot hand. Feed it. Go with the Naja. Love the selection.
And nulisa for Elevate, locking in this Isis early game here. A little of a risky pick considering Naja is on the table, another good early game aggressor that could penetrate that backline. But as long as Isis can get off that circular protection during the engagement, that's going to be a lot of damage reduction and the heal at the end of the rainbow.
And Elevate right there in that last game, it seemed like they were able to dance, but were missing just a little bit of team fight. nulisa is still going to be able to provide some of those haha kills that she found on the Scylla in game number 1 by way of Spear Ball at Wingust, but now with the Circle of Prots, she's really going to be able to impact the team fight as a whole as well. This Isis pick might be what Elevate were missing in game 1.
Talked and Nox banned away from PrettyPriMe. Still has a lot of options available for himself. Scylla is on the table. Poseidon, not to forget Zeus. Zeus is one of these gods. Vulcan as well. It was banned by Elevate in that first game, and Jing away being locked in here for Elevate.
Elevate, yeah, they're going to go with the Jing way, allowing Jermain to traverse the map a little bit easier, but it's the Vulcan and the Ram that I'm going to pay attention to here. More the Vulcan. Sorry, Ram, Ataraxia. I know you can hit your shots, Array, but anytime PrettyPriMe picks up Vulcan, that's one of the crowd favorites for a reason.
There's a Titan skin for a reason, and he is that reason that Vulcan received that skin, so we're going to see quite a lot of interesting things out of him. Bacchus, last selection for Elevate. Great engagement, pure aggression. If we look at this Bacchus Nemesis combination dating back to Season 3, these were your two staple picks to pair up with any mid-mage just for that damage, because Bacchus's Intoxicate has such a high base damage at level 5, once you hit level 5, that with the Divine Judgment from Nemesis, you're looking at almost a guaranteed kill during that 3v3 skirmish.
Oh, it's the first time we get to see Bacchus with his new picture.
Oh, do you remember the new picture for Vamana when we first looked at it?
My favorite was the Guan Yu and Obey. This is the strategy. Elevate did the same thing in game number 1, preventing the flank, the surprise flank from the solo laner. You push up with your entire team here. Love the adaptation. It's so beautifully simple, Tolly.
Yeah, now there's going to be much riskier opportunities here, not able to really find that level 1 first blood out of your soul laner. A lot of easy opportunities, especially with the Sunder days, but still looking for a play is going to be Dardez here in a 2v2. nulisa investing her Wingust just to poke out PrettyPriMe instead of clearing the wave, though.
I think that's not too much of an issue. Wingust is the ability you're going to get anyway, but more importantly, you mentioned focusing on the player to the wave. That's the big deal. But nulisa does have some help by way of the basic attacks being powerful and the fact that her teammates already took the jungle. So Obey can outpush Elevate, and there's really nothing to win except for the Gremlins that Elevate are going to fight over anyway. Looks like, oh no,
maniaKK
goes
is
the
here.
way to Obey.
maniaKK is here. He's level 2. No numbers, taking the bludgeon, taking a lot of poke. Cherryo with speed buff. He will be okay, but such a heavy investment from Elevate to strip away the speed buff and then go straight for those elementals while we see maniaKK just casually farming away, clearing the wave, and then making that level 2 rotation.
Yeah, I like to play a lot from Elevate there, understanding that they're a step ahead of their team, the enemy team. Gets the Aegis out of a PrettyPriMe. They're just playing a step ahead of Obey right here. They understood exactly what Obey's level 1 plan was and made sure that there was nothing they could gain.
And maniaKK was fighting 1v2 that whole time. He even stopped the blue buff attempts coming out of Elevate. No numbers and Cherryo are getting stalled out here. nulisa forced to go into the beads, and great disengage from Twig. And whenever you sash as a Naja, 8 out of 10 times, you don't actually commit after the sash. You want to just peel back bait, because you know there's going to be a lot of cooldowns once you engage.
I didn't like the timing on the sash. Naja into the Isis is a fantastic matchup because you can stop the main source of damage by way of Wingust. It's a four-part channel ability. You can actually stop it with the sash. So we're seeing the sash for poke, and then allowing nulisa to get out with the Wingust. Wait till the Wingust and interrupt it.
That's true, but
easier said than done, I understand.
Because when you use that Wingust, you're not receiving any movement penalties, so you can move side to side or backwards without reducing your movement speed, which makes it slightly more difficult for CaptainTwig.
Oh, yeah, like I said, easier said than done, but he does it right there. See? Listen, if you're in the Pro League, you should do things like that. First blood for CaptainTwig as he protects and collects the mid lane.
Oh, Dardez just couldn't stop the aggression. CaptainTwig uses Purification Beads as the belly flop happened, preventing the knockup. First blood onto nulisa, and with her Purification Beads being used earlier on in that laning phase, that was an easy second chance opportunity for Twiggy.
That was, oh wow. And I'm sorry, I am going to truck you on that. That was anything but easy. The interruption of the wing gust we already talked about being difficult. Just understanding the ring mounts and the basic attacks. That was a tough play. Hats off to CaptainTwig.
And yet again, going for the Talaria boots as he backs and gets that first blood. A nice opportunity here because you really want to get some mobility for Naja, which is why sometimes we'll see Najas go into Wing Blade specifically.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
To get that health and movement speed. You want to be able to get in position to use your ultimate. Ring bounces will not only slow your opponents, but amplify your movement speed, whether or not you hit God or just regular minions. So you're looking to always be in the right place at the right time.
Last game, I didn't notice that Talaria gave him any real advantage as far as the experience is concerned. I really think that he's just saying, listen, it's 40 power on boots. I can lose that amount of power going Talaria boots for the extra movement speed. Because at the end of the day, I say this all the time, jungle is so much more than just playing and pushing the buttons. If you play perfectly, quote unquote, animation cancels and all the bells and whistles totally, you still might not be doing your job as a jungler. You have to rotate the map and make yourself known and have an impact.
Absolutely, especially like you're still trying to get some of that important gold, and not only that, Naja, not only does she have HP 5, no numbers, having to go into the ultimate to prevent the damage from Twig and maniaKK, trying to go for maybe an ultimate for Twig, but not wanting to commit under that tier 1 tower. But I was mentioning before is Naja has that heal once he pops that second ability, but the Talaria boots also gives you that HP 5 out of combat. So once you engage in as a Naja, you're taking a lot of damage, you're going to disengage for a little bit, rely on that HP 5 to go back in.
And then, like I said earlier, Shifter Shield is such a prevalent item right now in the current meta. What is it, 70 power, 75 power when you're above 50% HP? So by that item being more prevalent, your build naturally has more power than it used to once upon a time, and so that's another reason why you can forgo the power, as I mentioned, game number 1 from regular boots compared to Talaria boots. It just allows him to be omnipresent is the word I like to use.
And it's such an efficient item. For only 2350 gold, you're getting 70 physical power once you're above 50%.
It is, man,
health.
cheap. Right here, this one might be a little expensive, but the Soul Laner jumps away thanks to the ultimate maniaKK. Safe, despite the 1-on-2.
And just piggybacking off of more of this item conversation we're having here, Yonen's Wrath was one of these items that a lot of junglers used to go for, but now with just a pure amount of physical power from Shifter Shield, there are different alternatives here. If you want to be able to be spammy, sure, you could still go for that Yonen's Wrath. It's not that it's just bad item by any stretch of the imagination. There's always a time and a place for every item.
Right, and I do think that Naja does need a little bit of CDR, whether it's Hydra's Lament or Jotun's Wrath, sure. But I would like to see some CDR in this build. I think that, he's an ability-based character. The more often your heal comes up, the more often your sash comes up.
But you don't really need CDR when you have EmilZy playing this Terra.
That's fair. That is very, very fair. Terra is going to be able to impact that in a positive light. Right side, Obey grouping up as 3. Going to be greeted by Elevate's 4. Nice shot onto PrettyPriMe. The stun out of the mid lane is also going to be good. The chase down, not so strong. maniaKK on the trail, looking for the jump. There's launch from Vulcan, and no numbers narrowly avoids it.
Oh my goodness, what an investment onto PrettyPriMe. Luckily, EmilZy was just right around the corner to be able to bail him out between the root and the stun. Great Aegis opportunity for PrettyPriMe to be able to buy himself some more seconds just to get under his own tier 1 tower, and obviously with all the cooldowns not available for Elevate, now wanting to invest that ultimate from no numbers to dive that tier 1 tower, using it defensively, just narrowly avoiding the damage out of PrettyPriMe.
Again, nulisa found a perfect stun. maniaKK could use it on the right side, but she's nowhere near him. He's all alone. Still winds up getting out of there. Totally, how did he do that one?
And he's just honestly, he's just walking away. You absorb some of these cooldowns and then you just walk away. There's just not enough damage to take out a level 9 Bellona at this point in time, but it gives them enough of a window to put pressure and clear the wave, not allowing maniaKK the space that he needs. No numbers can disrupt the bludgeon. And diving this tier 1, Cherryo taking a little bit of poke, using that retribution, but Eagles rally, buying him time.
The up, down, the classic, just stalwart solo lane mentality. A lot of players run away, solo laners rarely do.
There's no need to if you're honestly playing Bellona. You have the health chalice. You have so much damage out of your bludgeon. As long as you can wait for the 72 transformations out of no numbers, that slam, even in a 1v2, especially in a 1v2, is going to turn the tide in your favor. Once you do the damage there, you switch to the Scourge because you already took some damage in return, so you want to be able to outbox your opposition and look for that 1v2 turnaround play with Twig making that counter rotation.
As I said, most of, if not all, successful solo laners are those players that will stand up to adversity, and I'll take the 1v2 no problem. But when you start watching SPL, right side, trouble for the solo laner, you start to notice different players can look different. You can turn the names off and still see a playstyle. maniaKK is one of the coolest players in the league. He always keeps his calm. Right now, anything but CaptainTwig getting aggressive on Cherryo. Brings him down to 25% HP. Here's help from Nemesis, and CaptainTwig, he's the one that goes down, but from a distance, PrettyPriMe bites back.
The circle of protection was used, but wasn't popped for the heal. Damage reduction wasn't enough to save the life out of Cherryo. Jungler for jungler does escape. No numbers, dealing quite a bit, but maniaKK is here, and he's healthy. Oh man, if he hadn't used bludgeon there, he could have Eagles rally to stop out that 72 transformations.
That was oh man, that was rough. Nulisa making the wrong decision there, opting instead for the damage reduction instead of the heal. One of those really tough decisions to make in the moment. Dardez gets knocked up, but
I love that Dardez doesn't use that belly flop right away despite being surrounded by two members. The fact that the root missed from EmilZy means that he could just honestly walk away during the buildup of the stun from Terra. You have enough time to be able to use that belly flop to avoid the collapse.
Dardez well-versed with these aggressive characters. Bacchus certainly being one of them. There's the dash forward from EmilZy, and then right when it needs, he'll jump away.
Missing the first, connecting on the second and third. Wouldn't have killed this Bacchus anyway because of how resilient he is. He has those reinforced greaves, so the more damage he takes, the more protections he gains. And not only that, as long as he's drunk or a little tipsy, he's going to get that extra protections off of his passive.
So Bracer is a character-to-character item, Anatoly. I don't like it on all characters. I think it really depends on who you're playing. Bacchus, remember how I said I wasn't a fan of it on EmilZy? Still not. I think that Terra could probably benefit from some other items. Bacchus is the greedy support. I don't mind it because Bacchus is going to jump into a fight, get in trouble, Bracer, and then jump again. And that's his main peel and aggression. So I like the selection on Bacchus a lot more than I like it on some of the more defensive-minded supports.
1 for 1 in those oracles. Heading into the 11-minute mark, Obey, they still have a little bit of a lead despite not gaining a gold fury. Terra's blessing being used, but where's the action? Naja taking one into the sky in the mid lane. It's Nulisa taking the spill.
And that's the classic mid lane jungle interaction of Naja. Hey man, I'm ulting. And the mid says, okay bro, and just primes the ult. And then whoever went up, they're going all the way down. Nulisa still has 14 seconds before she can play.
And PrettyPriMe didn't even need his ultimate to be able to confirm that kill still on cooldown, which allows them maybe to even go for this gold fury if Elevate invest into the right side. But Twig getting the blue buff for maniaKK, still trying to get to that level 12 to get that very important second relic.
So I said earlier during picks and bans that Cherryo played fine enough on the Nemesis that I don't mind the repick. But here, I think I'm going to eat my words. I think I would have rather have seen Elevate go for a higher pressure jungler in the mid lane, allowing the pick that needs to happen on a PrettyPriMe, because with Isis and Jermain, I want to see that gold fury.
It just seems that Elevate are being a little quiet in this game, despite having this Isis in the mid lane. She's the one that's getting out pressured here as CaptainTwig has just making Nulisa's life more difficult than it needs to be, and there's no responses from Elevate. Normally, whenever you're losing one lane, obviously you want to go in opposite sides of the map, and it wouldn't be a bad idea for Elevate to try to target maybe even Ataraxia here.
Ooh, Dardez, love the play right there. Goes for the enemy hunter as soon as Jermain gets aggressed on. That's how you got to play Bacchus. And it seems so backwards almost, but you get peeled by giving out damage.
And without the Hunter here for Obey Alliance, Elevate are going to do a lot of damage to this Tier 1 tower. EmilZy trying to do what he can just to buy some time. Twig on the side.
And that has been communicated thanks to Cherryo. Jermain's in trouble, dashes away after the gust. That's a good play.
Still looking for it,
Nulisa. Can't find the stun.
I think he was going to still look for it. If he can find the ring bounces on Jermain here, all it's going to take is 1 or 2 hits to reduce a little bit of physical protection here and to take that one target into the sky for a very easy opportunity, especially considering that Bees was used by Jermain.
I think this is the most lopsided of all the matchups, Anatoly, and you know that I say that not. I like no numbers a lot of the time, and I don't think he's the weak point, but maniaKK is just handling him in the solo lane.
He's doing such a great job juking out those transformations. nulisa can't juke out that ultimate, taking down again.
See ya. Nice and easy. That's just how it's going to go all the time. CaptainTwig up, PrettyPriMe, cut him down.
nulisa. Nowhere to go. Level 11 here, despite having that Dynasty plate handle, it's just not enough, really, to survive against a Naja that has Shifter Shield complete already. No contention around this Gold Fury Elevator, just going to concede it.
Yeah, Dardez chased out effectively by Obey. He wanted to look towards the Gold Fury, but just unable to. Couldn't really make it there in time. Got zoned out by Obey, very successfully. And no numbers will capitalize by taking out the Tier 1 tower. That's the play he's got to make. I'm sure he's not thrilled about it.
Got to get something in return. We saw game number 1 when Obey got the Gold Fury Elevator spawn with a Portal Demon of their own, but it seems that the Portal Demon's still down for a little bit longer. Not going to have that opportunity, but at least getting 500 gold in response mitigates some of the bleeding.
You know, I see the Dynasty plate helm, and I don't mind it. But I think that the best fighting chance that anybody ever has against a Naja, just like a tier, is Magi's Blessing, actually. Not even Wingblade, Magi's Blessing. Once you're able to just stop at least the Sash, because the Sash will still bring him to you, but you don't get stunned and you can move away, you automatically are in a better spot to avoid the ultimate. And I mean, God forbid he just tries to blink ult you with the Magi Blessing, and then you just laugh your way out, right?
That's very true. Twig, but he doesn't have to worry about that option quite yet here, as nulisa is going to be going for that penetration option. More than likely will be that Spear of Desolation, giving you 20 flat pen, a little bit of cooldown reduction, and a decent amount of power.
Which is a big deal, because one of the big differences between that Magi's Blessing that I mentioned and the helmet is that the helmet still provides offensive stats, giving you penetration as well. So the Magi's Blessing is pure defensive, and at this point in the game, nulisa does need to stay relevant by way of damage. Rama in trouble on the left side, but no numbers in trouble on the right. Everybody having a party here. Rama's gonna land on down and be surrounded by Elevate members. They need this kill. Big play. Elevate get one back, still trailing by 5,000.
Just didn't have the cooldown available to roll after landing, but despite finding the kill, Obey are using this opportunity with a man advantage on the right. 3 members here will secure that Portal Demon, while EmilZy trying to hold on to that Tier 1 as long as he could. Poking out Jermain quite heavily though. Twig taking that Spear Ball to the face, being knocked up from Dardez, but here comes maniaKK.
And there's trouble as the overshot comes through. nulisa is able to get rid of it thanks to an Aegis. PrettyPriMe finally gets himself ignored. EmilZy now in the middle of players in Elevate Uni, still wants to push forward with Obey. PrettyPriMe wants no part of this fight.
No, not at all, because Jermain is back in the action with that Jing passive. Ataraxia just now reviving, getting knocked up into the sky, into the stun from a distance. nulisa silencing out. Circle of Protection will pop, but EmilZy finding 1, finding 2 dashes.
He's still alive! No numbers, gotta go for it. Gotta go for it, gets it. The monkey out the cloud finds the kill. Beautiful knockup from No Numbers, disrupts the whole scene.
But Twig is not done, taking 1 into the sky. It's gonna be Cherryo healing off of the Retribution, Divine Judgment onto maniaKK, just a double dash away. 1 for nothing here as the Terra support falls.
Great stuff from Elevate. It doesn't really do anything for them.
No.
But it's that mental win. It's that mental win. The team fight was honestly sloppy as all hell on both sides, but Elevate mentally win. They get the support, which is honestly, again, the worst target they could have gotten, but they get something, Toli. And this is a top team. I think Egypt, excuse me, I think Europe, I'm thinking Cherryo. I think Europe is separated into two spots. Top 5, bottom 3. Elevator in that bottom 3. Obey are the top of the top.
Yes.
To see Elevate be able to like dance right this and stay within 5,000, this is a positive sign for Elevate, who were trending upwards until they lost Fails, and now 1 step forward, 2 steps back. They need to get back on the horse, and games like this, plays like that, on how they do it.
Now, it was a little sloppy from Obey Alliance considering of how far forward they were pushed, but look at this. Ataraxia caught again right behind, forced to go into the beats. Terra's blessing just for good measure, but PrettyPriMe takes advantage of nulisa being left alone.
Ooh, just a 1v1 kill. Hotness. Hotness. nulisa falling down for the 4th time. 1-4-1. The Ice is struggling in this game.
But like I was mentioning before, Obey Alliance, they took that engagement 4-on-5 around the jungle side from Elevate. So it just goes to show they're still in control of the game if they just didn't play that aggressive. But now playing aggressive with a one-man advantage in their favor, they're going to get this tier 1 for free here. Could look for tier 2.
Yeah, No Number is going to look for a stun and a play on a PrettyPriMe. Nice knockup from the back end. Looking for the loop around is going to be Obey, not Elevate. And the decoy will fall. But Elevate defend their tier 2 tower by being a little aggressive, like the call there.
Still not wanting to really aggress too far forward with Goldfear just now respawning. It's a better opportunity for them to get healthy, to get their buffs, and prepare for this next objective. Fire Giant could be looked at here from Elevate if they elected to just give up the Goldfear, but instead, looks like they want to put pressure on this side of the map just to get some vision and maybe look for a steal. They have some options here. You're looking at the Circle of Protection and the Intoxicate at Elevate.
Yeah, at the same time, PrettyPriMe is there, and he's right here. Cherryo going down for the count. Elevate clearly looking for a pick, and Obey take the fight to them. Shots from the sky and isolate. No Numbers down very low. maniaKK with the hammer puts him down, and nulisa just surrounded, in trouble as well. Ultimate won't do it. Raxia gets the kill. It's 9-3. And Obey picking up the gold.
It was just a great ultimate from PrettyPriMe. This has been the telltale theme from Obey Alliance this game. It's been PrettyPriMe connecting with the ultimates, whereas nulisa's Circle of Protection hasn't been making the impact that it really needs to for Elevate. You're looking at the Vulcan ult, offensive. Isis ult, both. Offensive, defensive, but just less impactful this game. Elevate are not grouped up around this ultimate when they need to be.
The biggest thing for me here, Anatoly, is that PrettyPriMe's ultimate does so much damage that the Circle of Protection is irrelevant. Even if PrettyPriMe doesn't garner the lead in the mid lane, the Circle of Protection does not stop the full-range Vulcan.
At least at this phase of the game, because the later stages, that Circle of Protection will heal for so much and do a lot of damage, but
less about the heal and more about the damage reduction.
Yeah, 15%.
When the long-range Vulcan ultimate comes through, 15% of 8 trillion is still going to kill you and your team. I might have fudged the numbers on that one.
Just a little bit.
Honestly,
that's a lot of zeros.
Honestly, not by much. Zero's place for Dignitas. He's so mad. That was the best.
He's on AI.
That's what we call a softball. Underhand toss. That's like beer ball league. Here you go, Tolly. Can you hit it, buddy?
Got it.
21-21. And Obey
no.
certainly coming up with blackjack here. Elevate down almost 10 grand as the number 2 at Worlds trying to continue their stretch and find themselves 1 at this year's Worlds. Up 6 kills, and the Portal Demon, it gives them a great push onto the right side of the map.
This is the one problem with some Wukong. Once you get disrupted in your 72 transformations, you have to go into that somersault cloud and just to survive. And without this ultimate, he's going to be so much squishier now. He just completed Stone of Gaia after that encounter, so that one knockup from PrettyPriMe was what set up the opportunity here. A decent amount of damage here onto Cherryo from just the support on this Terra, but all the actions on the right from Obey.
And the fact that the Terra's not there is less important because her ultimate's global, and she's still going to be able to help the team out. Elevate now playing good defense. maniaKK separated by 3 different players. There's help for the mid laner, but still, the tower goes down. Obey Alliance able to take that one to the cleaners.
Jermain taking a lot of damage, but it doesn't matter since Jing will be back in the action, still looking for more objective control, stealing away the blue buff. Could look for Fire Giant, but
the call to go back.
Sitting on probably a lot of gold in hand before they wanted to go for that one.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see all of them just spending it out. Obey Alliance going to come up with some power items. You can see, well, Winged Blade is exactly the most powerful item, but the penetration finally being built out by CaptainTwig here. and still no CDR. So CaptainTwig looking for the full CDR is more important early on in the game, in my opinion, because very rarely, even with full CDR, are you going to get your full rotation off of 4-3 abilities, right? You're not going to get your full rotation off more than once during a team fight unless things go horribly wrong. So CaptainTwig is just looking for plays like that. Big impact, low time frame. Here I am, ring bounce, sash, ultimate. And Jermain was yesterday's news.
Oh, but the Aegis will buy him some time. In the sky is Ataraxia. Maniac taking out nulisa in the back. Snipes aren't good, but Maniac for that hot double kill under that tier 2 mid. Ataraxia will find one.
Game.
Tower's going to go down as well. There's only 4 down here from Elevate. Obey, they're going to look for this mid Phoenix.
Yeah, that's a 100% game. 13-3 here. The Phoenix is going to fall down with 15 seconds. This is the gamble that I always tell teams to go for. There it is, the surrender.
Elevate, they don't even want to try to defend with only no numbers alive here. Twig not having too much mana, but didn't matter. All 5 members healthy.
Writing's on the wall there. I don't think Elevate surrender if Obey don't push in. But look, Obey pushes in. Worst case scenario, they get wiped. There's not enough time on those sit-down timers and timeout timers, respawn timers. There's not enough time on the respawn timer for the game to go to Elevate off that play. So play dangerous, play greedy, go for the call, and Elevate say, all right.
I think at that point, honestly, it's game number 2. If you're going to lose, you're about to lose in like 15 seconds anyway. Why not just like see what happens?
I feel you on that
It's just like 15 seconds. Like, what's 15 seconds?
I do feel you on that one.
That's like putting some frozen ice cream in the microwave just to like singe it a little bit.
Singe?
Yeah, you gotta like get the size a little bit singed.
First of all,
Nice
microwave singe is from an open flame. Microwaves don't actually use open flame. Microwave heats from the inside out, so the outside becoming crispy before the inside, not gonna work. Listen, I gotta take care of Toli. I got a lot to teach this man. We'll be back in just a few. Stay tuned.